and welcome to an Isuzu. So currently in South Africa, Isuzu sells one car. Well, not one unit, they sell one model. It's called the KB, and they seem to be pretty happy with the situation. They sell about 1,000 a month and things are going quite well for them. But then what happened was Chevrolet pulled out of the country and took their Trailblazer with the rival to the Fortuner. And so there was a gap in the market, and Isuzu South Africa sent some executives over to Thailand, where the MUX has been on sale since 2013. And luckily for us, they've brought a few back with them. And now I'm driving one, in case you missed that part. It's a MUX. Right, the Isuzu MUX, let me not call it that, they won't like that. The Isuzu MUX. It is the SUV version of the KB, and it uses the same tried and tested 3-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine. Now interestingly, this engine actually powered Noah's Ark. A lot of people don't know that actually. It's a little bit of history for you there. What I mean is it's been around for a long time, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's developed an excellent reputation for reliability. So if you like your technology slightly outdated but very reliable, then the Isuzu MUX is for you. Luckily, everything around the engine is actually quite modern, starting with the independent suspension all round and the 5-link suspension in the back. And what that means is you get a very good ride out of this MUX. The ride quality is particularly good for a car in this segment. I would say the Ford Everest reigns supreme in this aspect, but the MUX is very good, and I would say it is better than the Toyota Fortuner. And then the other thing which feels like it's bang up to date is the interior. Let me take you on a tour of the interior, starting with storage bins. I know that's quite a weird thing to start with, but there are so many of them I had to mention it. There's one up here which has a 12-volt port in it. Then there's the cubby hole, of course, that's fairly standard. Then there's a sunglass holder up here. Then there's a center bin between the two seats, and then there's a little sneaky bin over here down by my knee. So if you like losing things in places, then this is the car for you. Down here is your 4x4 selector, fairly straightforward, 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. This is a gear shifter. And then over here, some USB ports for you, very useful, USB and aux jack. Then next to it is an HDMI port, and next to that is a 5-volt USB port. Now those are good because they charge your phone really quickly, but for some reason it's not made of the same material as the other ones, and I can't open it. It feels like I'm going to break a nail. Hang on, I have an idea. Hang on. Yes, there we go. See, I've solved the problem for you before you've even bought the car. Moving on to the infotainment system, it is a really good system. Everything's housed in this massive touchscreen in front of me, which sort of floats on top of the dashboard, and it has sat-nav as standard, and it's a very good sat-nav system actually. You can connect your phone in all sorts of ways. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. What I really like about it is everything is very big. You know, sometimes with touchscreens you try stab for the right thing on the move and you miss, and it gets a bit frustrating, but all the buttons, all the options are very large on here, and I really like that. There are some other nice touches. For instance, in front of the driver and the passenger, there's a little slide out drinks holder. That's very cool. The driver seat is electric, but the passenger seat isn't. And then there are a few things which are missing. You don't get dual zone climate control. You have to make do with one zone. And then the CD player is meant to be here. I think they mentioned it in the press release, but I can't find it, which is a bit awkward. And then there is push button start, so that I can show you the reverse camera. Isuzu, with you for the long run. They want you to know that. If I go into the reverse camera, there we go. It's got the lines, but the lines don't move with the steering wheel. And then weirdly, there's no PDC, but you can opt for that as an aftermarket extra, which doesn't make too much sense to me. But overall, it is actually a very good interior. Stop beeping. Right, the back seats, all pretty straightforward. They're actually very comfortable. There's good headroom and the rear passengers get their own aircon, which is nice. The seats fold pretty easily. One touch like that, they fold up and back down so that the boot area is flat. Everyone gets a drinks holder. It's a bit of a theme with this car. Two there for your passengers, and the rear passengers get one 5-volt USB port to fight over. Meet me at the boot. Now, of course, this is a 7-seater car, so you just pull on that little lever there, sort of strap. Third row of seats comes up. Not so great for adults, obviously, but perfect for kids. There's a secret little compartment here, which is great for hiding stuff. When the row of seats is up, obviously the boot space is not that great, but that's pretty typical of these cars. With all the seats down, though, you do get pretty massive load area. And then there is a tow bar fitted to this car, but that is an optional extra. You'll have to pay a bit more for that. Don't have the price for you now, and we'll add it into the description below. In terms of price, the Fortuner is a bit more expensive at $646,000 compared to this top of the range MUX, which goes for $629,000, but that's not a huge difference. Where they do differ though is in terms of power. The 2.8 litre diesel in the Toyota offers 17 more Newton meters of torque at 450 Newton meters. It also has a diff lock, which is missing in the MUX, and it has nice little features like an electric tailgate, which you can't get in the MUX. But the MUX fights back with a better warranty at 5-year 120,000 Ks compared to the 3-year 100,000 Ks in the Fortuner. But the Fortuner has exactly the same service plan at 5-year 90,000. So they are pretty close on paper. Not much to separate them in that sense, unless of course you are a hardcore 4x4 enthusiast and you're going to miss the diff lock. But let's talk about this engine a little bit more. Now, tried and tested is good. Everyone likes reliability, but the world has moved on a bit, particularly in the way diesel engines sound. So you will notice that kind of clackety clack of an older diesel engine with the Isuzu, especially when it's cold. It does get quieter though as the car warms up. The power figure is on par with the competition, 130 kilowatts, which is what you get in the 2.8 litre Fortuner, but the 380 Newton meters in here is a bit lower. But even though the power figures are okay, it does feel like everything happens quite slowly in the MUX. You know, normally in our videos we'll do a performance scene where we crank up the music and I put on my serious face and then I go for an enthusiastic drive, a spirited drive. We're not going to do that today. There's no point. There wasn't even a 0 to 100 time in the press release. I mean, it will get to 100, you know, eventually, but this isn't that kind of car. This is an adventure SUV, a leisure vehicle, the sort of car where you hitch up the caravan and behind that you hitch up the horse box, and behind that you hitch up the jet ski, and then behind that you hitch up the quad bikes, and you just take a leisurely cruise to your destination while your kids annoy the hell out of you and ask you, are we there yet? That's the kind of car this is. Right, the Isuzu MUX, a great new addition to the South African market, and the winner is you, the motorist, because if you're looking for a bakkie-based SUV, you now have one more to choose from. I have a feeling this is going to sell better than the Chevrolet Trailblazer. I think the idea of a big Chevy 4x4 wasn't that palatable to South Africans, but selling a big Isuzu 4x4, that should be much easier. So if you've got about 650,000 Rand burning a hole in your pocket and you're looking for a bakkie-based SUV with full 4x4, I think you should definitely shortlist the new Isuzu MUX. Go take it for a test drive. And of course, look out on Cars.co.za for way more information, more reviews, full specifications, and a comparison tool where you can compare the Isuzu to its rivals. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now. So,
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, you know, maybe give it a like, and definitely subscribe to be the first to see our videos as they drop. Yeah, definitely do that.